All right, guys, we're going to get started here. My name is Ian Alexander. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO here at RepairTech, and today we're going to be talking about Facebook marketing for your computer repair shop. I'm also joined by Andrew Torba. Andrew is the co-founder and CEO of a company called Automate Ads. Andrew, I will let you explain what you guys do, and then we'll get started.
Sure. We help digital advertisers automate the day-to-day management tasks that come with scaling and managing paid media campaigns on Facebook, Google AdWords, and Instagram currently.
Awesome. So if I could paraphrase, Andrew knows a lot about Facebook marketing, among other channels. So today what our goal is to show you guys how Facebook advertising can help you grow your computer repair business, and then to show you how to get started with that if you haven't already. Along the way, we'll be answering questions, and at the end, we'll do a dedicated Q&A session if you guys have any questions on stuff. So it's going to be a pretty straightforward thing. I'm just going to go through this. The reason we're doing this is because at RepairTech, obviously, we make software for computer repair shops. We want to help you grow your business, and we have the luxury of speaking to repair shop owners all over the world all the time. So we have been able to gather the things that work the best for computer repair shops in terms of marketing and just other things in general too. So we like to share those learnings with you guys and make sure that you are able to grow your computer repair business, because that is one of our missions. So a few key principles for marketing. I'll let Andrew chime in if he wants to add anything to this, but make sure you're measuring everything that you do in regards to marketing. What gets measured gets done, and allows you to adjust and improve your marketing efforts. In addition to that, make sure you're being patient. It's not going to work for you overnight. You're going to have to put in effort to see the results of your marketing efforts. And so, you may wait 6 months, for example, for a mailer campaign to work, but you may see results eventually. So you just have to make sure you're being patient. Third, it takes money to make money. You're going to have to invest a certain amount of money and be okay with burning a certain amount of money in order to get these campaigns off the ground and to a level of efficiency that actually makes sense from an ROI perspective. So, for example, on day one, you might have a customer acquisition cost of $100 when your goal is 50, but the fact that you're getting 100 means you might be on the right track, and you just need to do some small things to improve that. So you're going to have to set aside, say, $500 and say, I'm willing to burn this $500 in order to make this channel work for me to get to that point. Andrew, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that I would add specifically in regards to when you're advertising on Facebook, especially when you're just getting started, is to treat it like a science experiment. So, your very first campaign is going to have some sort of objective. You're going to have some sort of, price in mind for what you want to pay or what you're willing to pay for some type of conversion, whether that conversion is getting people to click back to your website or getting people to, download your ebook or whatever other form of marketing that you're doing. But the point is that it is going to take time. It's going to take a little bit of upfront investment to, learn how to manage these campaigns, learn how to scale these campaigns, learn how to read and understand and measure these campaigns. So all of these things that Ian's going over here really all are interconnected and definitely apply when you're advertising on Facebook. You want to start very small, smaller budgets, and do a lot of testing, and then work your way up based on that information that you learn through measurement and through understanding, and that's going to take time.
Right. And the last point there, the last bullet point, is that more targeting is better. And what we mean by that is the more specific you can be when targeting your customer, the better chance you're going to have of getting the ideal customer, and therefore it's probably going to cost you less to get that customer, and you're going to get better results. So in this webinar, we're going to show you how to target people in your geographic area, and then also add some more demographics to that so that you can be pretty specific. And this should work for most repair shops. It'll work for repair shops that are servicing their local area, so it should be most people. So what we were thinking is we would actually make a campaign for you guys during the webinar. So I have our Facebook up here, and we're going to go ahead and create a new campaign. So you can get to this if you go to your Facebook account and go to your business manager. It's really easy to set up. It'll take you about 5 minutes if you don't already have a business manager there. But we're going to assume you do have one. And we're going to make a new campaign here. Now, there are a bunch of different types of campaigns. And for this one, Andrew and I thought it might be most appropriate to, you think we should do the send people to your website one, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to be clear here that each one of these objectives is really going to become a different ad type, right? So these objectives are structured to be centered around your goals. So if one of your goals is to get people back to your website, create awareness about your brand, your service, etc., that's really one of the first starting points for most people. So I think that is a good starting point in terms of somebody creating their first campaign, for example. If you were to do a boosted post, if you want to go through all these ad types, each objective is a little bit different. So when you're boosting your posts, that is promoting content that you've posted out on your Facebook page so that more people can see it. The next one is promote your page, which is getting more page likes. I wouldn't really recommend these two at the moment when you're first getting started. You really want to focus on centering in on what your objectives actually are and make those objectives really concrete. So I think clicks back to website is a good starting point for this purpose.
Awesome. Yeah, so the first thing it's going to ask you for is a URL that you want to promote. So what I did was I made a landing page, and I'll show you that to you guys. Let's get that over here. So this is kind of a dummy landing page. It's a fake thing that we put together, but it's an example of something you can build. We built this with Unbounced, which is a service you can use. It's pretty affordable to build landing pages. Now, of course, you could do this yourself, or you don't really need to have a landing page, but most people would suggest it because it's very targeted. It gets to the point quickly. It's easy to build. You don't need a developer. So this is our example. This is where customers are going to go when they click the ad. So it has, some benefits or maybe services you offer, some testimonials. They can click a button, or they can just call you on the phone. It has your address as well. So this is an example. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste that in here. So we have that URL right there. And then we can go ahead and get started. Andrew, is there anything you want to go over in terms of landing pages before we get started with this?
Yeah, so I mean, even if you don't have a specific dedicated landing page for every campaign that you're running, maybe you have a certain section of your website that you want to send people to, such as your contact page, or even just getting them back to your main landing page as a starting point. But what I would recommend doing, and we probably won't have time to get into this on this call, is installing the Facebook tracking pixel on your website. Because then what we'll be able to do is capture the traffic that is coming back both from the ad and then anywhere else. So if you're running ads on Google, if you're doing anything with SEO, if people are searching, etc., we'll be able to capture that traffic and then retarget those people with the Facebook pixel. So you can see that Ian's showing you the Facebook pixel here. So that's something that's important. We probably won't be able to get to that, but that's a little bit more advanced. In terms of getting started on the landing page stuff, though, you can just start with your basic website, your website link as a great starting point, just to do some experimentation with ads.
Yeah, so we have one here that's for people who sign up. So we do some Facebook advertising, and when you go to our website and you sign up for an account, we know because we have this conversion tracking pixel there. So you can make it do a lot of different things. Like Andrew said, you can also retarget with it, meaning if someone clicks your ad and they go to your website, you can then serve more ads to them later via Facebook. And you can show them different ads, for example, if they've already been to your website. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started here. You might also want to set a campaign name. So we'll go ahead and say example campaign. This is useful if you have more than one campaign. That way you know which is which. Okay, so now on this page, what we're going to do is pick our demographics. So the first thing we're going to do is if we have custom audiences, so example of a custom audience might be people who already went to your website or any email addresses that you upload. But in this case, what we want to do is make it geographic. So we're going to select locations. We're going to go down to people who live in this location. because that's a little more specific. We don't as much care about people who are traveling through the area. And then I'm just going to enter the address of our office here, and that is right there. Let's see here.
You may have to hit drop pin in the bottom right there, I think.
Got it.
They just recently changed this, so. That's weird.
It's okay. Let's go ahead and...
You can just start with San Jose if you want.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem to be showing up autocomplete. It's all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and type in San Jose, and hopefully it will not do that. Okay, we'll refresh the page. Why not? Anyway, so once we do that, we're going to basically be able to select a radius around our area that we can show ads to. And I think what we're going to do is do it about 15 miles, just because in our particular area, it's a big city. There's a lot of repair shops. There's one like around the corner. So we're going to be focused on the people that are closest to us and not really try to take business from the guys that are a little farther, because that'll be a little more efficient, and there's tons of people in San Jose. Now, if you're in a more rural area where there's less people, you may want to do something different, but in this case, we're going to be pretty specific. There we go. Okay. So we pick San Jose here. We're going to go with 15 miles as the radius. And now you can see that we are picking between 1.2 million people. Now, obviously, we want to get that down because that is not specific enough. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to select people that are a little bit older, people that can maybe pay for a computer repair. And in this particular case, we're going to select people that are between 20 and 60. Now, if you serve senior citizens and that's your niche, you may want to do something different. In this case, in this example computer repair shop that doesn't actually exist, this is our target demographic. We're also going to, maybe in this repair shop, we only have people who speak English. Maybe we don't have any Spanish speakers, for example, in our repair shop. So we're going to choose people who speak English. And maybe we'll pick some other demographics. You can see there's all kinds of things in here. In this case, we probably, our best customers are usually people that are not going to haggle with us about price. So we're going to go with income between, let's see, 50 all the way up to like a 100,000. We'll go a little higher than that. We can go to 125,000. Anybody above that, they might just buy a new computer or something. So we'll just go with this range. Again, you may want to change this based on what your target demographics are. I'm just making stuff up here to give you an example. Okay, so now we've got this down to 280,000 people. That's a much more reasonable amount. Andrew, is there any other demographic area you might suggest adding?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think right now we have an audience size of about 200,000 people, like you said. That's a really solid, really healthy audience size. And you can see here that Facebook gives us a sort of a meter above, underneath the audience definition, that'll show you if your audience is too specific or too broad. So you have to be careful. You don't want your audience to be too specific because you could have some difficulties actually, spending money and placing ads. And the reason for that is the more narrow your audience gets, the less likely it is that they're going to log in every single day, to check. And, on top of that, when they're logging in, they have to be scrolling through their feed, they have to see your ad, and then they have to click on it. So when you boil down the numbers, when you get to an audience size that's under, say, 10,000 people, it becomes very, very difficult to actually spend money on Facebook and get placement. And on top of that too, the more narrow your audience is, the more focused your audience is, you can expect the price to go up a little bit, as you get more and more specific. So try to keep it in the green zone when you're targeting. As of right now, this is a very healthy sized audience. One other suggestion might be to use interest targeting. So you might want to, search for people that have specific interests, such as in Apple computers or Microsoft or even computer repair. You have to figure out what those interests are that are going to work for you, and it's a lot of, again, experimentation, a lot of different testing. The best thing is your customers, your local area, what people are interested in, who your customers are best. So experiment with all these options, but also don't go overboard, right? You don't want to include, there's so many different demographics, interests, and behavior options, in this section that we're in right now. You don't want to go overboard because then you'll have way too specific of an audience and run into some of those issues I was talking about before.
Right, makes sense. So let's just go with this for now, and we'll go forward. As far as the budget goes, you obviously want to spend enough money that this experiment is going to yield statistically significant data. So, you're probably going to need to spend over like $500. Would you say that's fair, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at least $500 a month in order to gather any kind of statistical, significance to understand what's working and what's not.
Right. So in this case, we might want to do this maybe as a set experiment. So maybe we want to do a lifetime budget. So we'll just say like, $550 or something like that. We can run it over the course of this month. So we'll maybe run it from the 5th starting today until the 5th next month. That'll get us a full month, and we'll spend $550. It'll be spread out over that time. You can see how many people it says will reach daily on Facebook. Now, I don't necessarily trust that, but it gives you kind of an estimate. And then below, Andrew, you want to speak to kind of the ad
Yeah,
delivery and the bid amount stuff?
sure. I think a lot of these settings are for more advanced advertisers. For most people, just leaving, automatic bidding. Obviously, you want your optimization to be link clicks to your website. That's the actual goal here. You wouldn't want to get more impressions. You wouldn't want to get unique reach. That's something that bigger advertisers, large brands that are spending thousands of dollars are more interested in. So for this case, you can generally leave all of this stuff the way it is. Once you start learning what the costs in your target market are, you can maybe experiment with some manual bidding. So you see that you have a manual option there. And Facebook will actually pre-populate this. And this is a good way to see approximately how much it's going to cost, or at least a solid range. So you can get an idea by looking at this, but for now you can leave it at automatic, and Facebook will try to optimize that down to the lowest possible price in this target demographic. Ad scheduling, I think you could check out too. That may be a little bit more advanced. But if you know, for example, that most people aren't looking for computer repair, on a Monday at 9 a.m., then maybe you don't want to run your ads at that time, for example. For the most part, though, especially when you're just getting started, I would run ads all the time, because that way maybe you'll surprise yourself and you figure out that people are clicking through more, on Monday at 9 a.m. So until you get that data, I wouldn't play around with ad scheduling too much or worry about it too much, because again, you do want your ads running. You don't want them off the majority of the time. So I would keep that on for now, just so that we can gather some data for our first campaign here.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that you will probably want to take into account, though, is your operating hours. So you're probably going to, depending on when your store is open and when you can answer the phone, you may get better results tailoring it to that. Now, what Andrew says is definitely true, and getting your brand in front of people at all times is probably useful. It's just something to take into account. Maybe once you know that it works, you might try optimizing the times you're showing ads to them.
Definitely.
Okay, so I think we're pretty good on this so far. So let's go ahead and actually figure out what our ads are going to look like. So there's two different types. You can use a single image or video in your ads. This is probably the ads that you're most used to, but there's also these multiple image ads that are kind of more like a carousel or something. Andrew, you want to talk about those?
Sure, yeah. So the standard Facebook ad is the single image or single video. That's what most people are used to seeing. That's what most people are used to using. But more recently, in the past, 6 to 12 months, Facebook has been really rolling out this carousel product. So what this will allow you to do is display, multiple products. If you have products, if you have services, it could be different components of your service, or it, in general, just gives you more room to tell a story about your brand. Maybe you have a couple of pictures of the shop. Maybe you have a couple of customer testimonials that you can feature. There's a lot of different creative ways that you can use the carousel ad type to get your story across and tell people about your brand or let them know about your service, as an example.
Thanks, that's awesome. So we're gonna go with the single image ad just because it's a lot simpler, and until you experiment with that, you probably don't want to do the carousel yet. And so for these Facebook ads, we're gonna need some images, and there's a really easy way to get stock images. I use a website called the stocks.im. These are all royalty-free images that you can get. I found one that I thought was pretty decent. It's an interesting thing, and I'm curious, Andrew, what you think about this. We've experimented with Facebook ads a lot. We've made everything from super kind of designed ads that kind of look like ads, but they look nice, to like photos that I've taken with my cell phone. And
Yeah.
in my experience, actually, the more raw the photo is, the better the engagement is. So it's kind of finding a balance between something that is a relevant photo and something that looks good.
Definitely. I mean, I think the thing to also keep in mind is that Facebook does have several image restrictions. So, for example, you don't want, an image that has a ton of text all over it, because Facebook has a rule where the image cannot contain more than 20% of text. And they actually have systems that will detect this text and prevent your ad from running. So it's important to not overload the image with text. I would agree that things that are more raw, so just a picture of you at the shop as an example, things that are real, people can sense that authenticity. So that's important to keep in mind. But these stock photos are also great. I mean, you want to make sure at the end of the day that it's high quality and that it looks great on both web and mobile. That's the most important thing.
Right. So I found this photo, which I don't know if they intended, but she looks kind of confused looking at her computer. Um, so I thought this was kind of an interesting one. It's kind of a balance between a natural looking photo, but it's also high quality. So for the sake of this demo, we'll just go with this. I downloaded it, made it the right size, which happens to be 1200 by 628. And they'll tell you that when you are uploading the photo. And we can just go ahead and select the image here, and I will upload an image. And go to pictures, and I have that there. While this is uploading, just so you guys know, if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the questions box, and when we get to Q&A, we'll be happy to answer them for you. Okay, so I uploaded that photo here, and you can see kind of what it looks like. Now we got to change the text and all that other stuff. If you have a Facebook page, you'll want to select it here so that you get your logo here and everything. And now we need a headline. So let's go ahead and make a headline. Gotta think of something. How about something like this? Or how about local technicians can help? Is that too long? That might be too long. Anyway, we want to go with something along these lines. How about we'll just bring that down to text. And now we want to, so there you go. That is that text. I actually may want to put that at the top. That probably is going to be better. And then we'll make a headline. Maybe we'll say San Jose computer repairs. That way they know it's local and in their city. And then we need some text down below. So I think you have to click Show Advanced Options, and then it's, for some reason, it's called Newsfeed Link Description. So maybe we'll list some of the services we have. So these are just some of the things that our fictitious computer repair shop offers, and you can see what that does. It puts it down here below.
The other thing you could point out too with these ad previews is right now you're in the desktop newsfeed preview. If you click the mobile newsfeed or the desktop right-hand column, you can see how this ad will actually look across various different placements. And for example, say you don't want it to be placed on the right-hand column, or maybe you don't want it on Instagram, you can hit remove on the right-hand side, and then the ad will not be placed on that channel. So that's something really useful to check out. As you're building your ads, you can see what they look like across each placement. And when you're just getting started, my recommendation would be to run ads in the desktop newsfeed and also the mobile newsfeed. I would not run right-hand column. I would not run audience network, and I wouldn't experiment with Instagram ads just yet. You really just want this to be a very first experiment. So I would recommend desktop and newsfeed for sure.
Yep, that's what I would recommend too. So now we need a display URL. So maybe whatever your website name is, San Jose Repairs.com. I'm making this up. I don't even know what that is. Okay, so anything else you think we need to add here, Andrew?
No, the bottom option there is URL tags, which if you're doing UTM tagging, it's, again, a little bit more advanced. We don't have to worry about that right now. You can show them the call to action button, so maybe they want to experiment with different call to actions. So right now, by default, we have learn more. You could also do something like contact us or shop now as another example.
Contact us is a really interesting one. Yeah, you probably want to experiment with those. I kind of like the contact us though, and that'll take them straight to the landing page where they'll see your phone number. Sounds pretty perfect.
Definitely.
So we're gonna go ahead and review this order. It's gonna cost us a certain amount of money, and we're going to run it for a certain amount of time, and then we will see the results at the end. Any advice on tracking the results?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, you want to be very clear here that you're not going to be charged $550 today. That'll be charged as the ads are actually getting placed, and at any time you can edit this order, you can stop this campaign if you decide you want to cut it off. So just keep that in mind. You're not going to be charged today. It's going to be charged as the ad is actually running. In terms of analyzing results, we'd probably have to go back to the main Manage tab. So we're still in campaign creation now. We're going to have to go back to our ads manager and then take a look at, we can even pull open this campaign if, unless you didn't create it. I don't think you created it. That's fine.
Go ahead and click place order.
Yeah, so we can place the order, and now what will happen is it'll go into review. So Facebook will check your images to make sure that you comply, check your copy to make sure that you comply, and then once approved, the ad will actually go live. So right now we're inside here. We don't have any performance data, but this is a great place to understand how the ad is actually performing once we get some spend out the door. And really what you're going to want to look at is the cost per result. So the cost per website click. This is a website click campaign, so the objective is to get as many website clicks at the lowest possible cost. And the other thing to keep in mind too is you should give the campaign a few days to actually perform. So it's going to take some time for Facebook to kind of figure out what's working and what's not on their end and optimize down a little bit. But once you come back, you can check out, the cost per website click is generally what most people are going to be looking for in terms of results on a website click campaign. So
Yeah,
maybe
that
you can
makes
go
sense.
into, maybe you can open up even another ad that you have running right now, and we can take a look just to give them a quick example of that.
Yeah. What did you want me to open up?
Maybe another ad that you have running on your account just to show them real quick.
Yeah, sure.
An example of a campaign with some data in it.
Sure. Let's go to, well, this is fine. This has only been running for one day.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's enough data for us to take a look. So you just want to click into one of those. But as you're
So
looking here, I mean, really, you're looking at the cost. So you got 34 cents per website click, which is really solid. 46 cents for that campaign and 74 cents for that campaign. So it looks like you have, three different interest targets here. I'm guessing one of those is a custom audience of emails, the very top one, which makes sense why you're seeing the lower cost per click there. And then you have an interest campaign that's doing really well, under 50 cents a click, and one more campaign, I'm guessing, with a different target. So it looks like Ian is doing some experimentation here, and this is really important because you can understand how each audience is going to react and where the price range is going to be for each of those audiences. And that's going to be different depending on where you're targeting, what you're targeting, what creatives you're using. There's a lot of different variables that come into play.
yeah, definitely. And one of the important things that I'd like to mention is understanding what results you're getting. And one way to do that, obviously these customers may call you, right? So one way to do that is to maybe make a Google Voice number and put that on this landing page. That way they're calling a different phone number and you can record the people you get calling that number. You can also ask them how they heard about you, and if they say Facebook, then you know. But you got to record that somewhere so that you can say, hey, I got 20 customers from this campaign. The total revenue from those customers was this. That way, if you made, say, $1,600 and you spent $500, you say, okay, well, we made a certain amount of money. Was that worth it? If so, then let's pump up the volume, or let's just keep doing it. If not, then are there things we can tweak to make this worth our time, or is it just a lost cause and maybe we should stop it? But if you don't measure the results, then you can never actually make an educated decision about what you did.
Absolutely. I think another way that people do that as well is by having, a specific discount code or a specific Facebook only deal. That way it gives you a little bit more insight into tracking. Obviously, what we're running here is a website click campaign. So you're paying to get people back to your website. After that, it's on you to A, have a great website that people can read and people can find your contact information. And then B, it's the impetus is also on you to, talk to people when they're calling in and figure out where they came from, or figure out a way to track it. Ian, I think with the Google phone number is great. The Google Voice account is great. That's a great idea. Outside of that, you could do, some sort of coupon deal, some sort of discount, mention this Facebook ad and get 5% off. Little things go a long way to help you measure the ROI, and it's just important to measure and track that so that you know what you're doing and where your money's going.
Yeah, and I was going to mention, Andrew doesn't know this, but I kind of want to plug him for a second. We've been using his company, Automate Ads, for a while to create and manage and automate and analyze our Facebook campaigns. And I was hoping, Andrew, you could talk a little bit about, once they have their Facebook campaigns set up and
Sure.
they've run them for a little bit, what they might do to make it easier for them with
Sure.
things like ad fatigue or whatever by using Automate Ads.
Absolutely. So
I
I
will
think
pull
it's
up for a
important,
second.
especially if you're just getting started, it's really important to learn, the different objectives, the different ad types, and the Facebook interface itself. Once you're familiar with that and you kind of have your bearings is when you can look to, a software solution like us. So what we help you do is automate a lot of the day-to-day tasks that come with managing Facebook campaigns. So we'll A and B test creatives and automatically drive your budget into the top performing creative. We'll optimize your bid prices for you to get the lowest possible price. We'll rotate the ads to help prevent something that Ian just mentioned, which is ad rot or ad fatigue. When you leave an ad running for a long period of time, the results will start dropping, after a while. So we help prevent that. And we just have a beautiful interface that makes it a little bit easier to manage, understand, and create campaigns across both Facebook, Instagram, and Google AdWords as well. Again, I would recommend getting started on the native platforms first, getting familiar with the different ad types, running a few experiments. Make sure, like Ian said, I think you made a really good point, make sure that it's for you. Make sure that you can measure success, make sure that it's worth the investment that you're putting in before you start looking for other software tools to kind of help you manage the campaigns for you in a way.
Definitely. So I wanted to leave some time for Q&A. So if you guys have any questions for us, we're going to stick around for another 15 minutes or so and answer all your questions. So go ahead and type them in that little questions box there, and we'll be happy to get started with that. Otherwise, I also wanted to let you guys know we did record this webinar, so we'll be sending out a recording of it within a couple hours of the end of the webinar. Andrew, is there anything else you wanted to go over while people are drumming up their questions?
Yeah, so again, just treat it as a science experiment, especially if you're just getting started. It's crucially important to measure and learn and understand the different terminology that comes with running ads on Facebook or running ads anywhere on the internet. And also, you know, Facebook ads are great, but they're not a be-all, end-all marketing strategy. You know, ideally, they should work alongside other marketing objectives or other marketing channels, such as email, you know, content marketing, that type of deal. So don't throw all of your eggs in one basket and think that, you know, you're going to drive sales through the door. You really have to have a multifaceted marketing strategy, and Facebook ads should be a part of that, but it shouldn't be your core, you know, focus. So keep that in mind and start small and learn. And it might take some time. It might take a little bit of money. But, you know, as you're learning, you can improve and scale up your budget into what's actually working from there.
Makes sense. We got some questions here. David asks, is there an archive for all previous webinars? Really appreciate these. Some of them are available. They're not all in one place. So I think that's a great idea. And I have all of them in various places. Some of them are on our YouTube channel. So if you want to head over to our YouTube channel, I believe we have a few of them on here. So there's a couple different things. There's a Q&A with our whole team from a while back. There's scaling your computer repair business with Chris Carruthers. I'll put this one on YouTube as well. We have an interview with the CEO of iFixit. There's a few of them in there. There's one with Repair Shopper somewhere. There's another one with Autotask. So check that out. There's a few, but we're going to put some more of them on YouTube. Thank you for prompting me to do that. I can do it pretty easily, so I'll go ahead and do it.
It looks like David had another question here too. Do most repair shops mainly focus on internet ads for targeting individual users or businesses? I think that's a great question. I've seen both. So obviously you could target individual consumers who are looking for repairs, but there's also a way to get in front of businesses as well. So you could target businesses in your local area. You can target by interest, people that are interested in entrepreneurship or people that actually are entrepreneurs. So, you know, depending on how you're targeting people, you can get in front of both businesses and consumers, especially with Facebook ads.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no problem, guys. Rust says, thank you guys, it was perfect, just what we needed, time to get some more clients. Yeah, that's the whole point. You know, obviously we make software for repair shops, but we really like helping you guys grow your business, and so we try to pull people like Andrew into webinars like this and get some knowledge out of them so that you guys can have something other than just software that can help you grow your business. And so if you guys have any suggestions or content that you want to see, if there's anything like this that you would like to know about, we can probably get one of our partners or somebody that is an expert and we can do another one of these webinars. Just let us know what you think. I'm going to put my email address in the chat box, and if you have any suggestions, just go ahead and send me an email and I'll be happy to drum it up for you. Awesome. Well, looks like that is all the questions. Thank you guys for attending, and Andrew, thanks a lot for coming. You were a huge help, and getting your knowledge was helpful for everybody, I'm sure.
Yeah, anytime. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to Ian and he can get you in touch with me.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Have a great day and happy holidays.